Is it a little intimidating being on here?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, I like get up and I speak to like students every day, right?
Yeah.
So, public speaking's not really that big of a deal for me, but like seeing this in front of me, like,
it can be intimidating a little bit.
It makes you think of like athletes and how they just have to get up there after even they lose like a game or something, like a big game, like a game 7, and then all the Toronto fans, fans.
I was talking to Nick Muller about that today, actually. Game 7 for him. But
I didn't dare text Sam Malone today. And
no.
Say anything to him. No.
I think that's the stupidest thing ever. Having a like after a UFC fight. Like a post interview after just getting like beat up and stuff. Yeah, you can't think straight.
Basically bleeding, probably have a concussion, and now here you are talking to millions of people,
getting bombarded with questions.
Yeah,
can't think straight. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I remember there's one interview that like sticks out to me, and it was a Baylor basketball player after like March Madness. There's a big upset, like they were a 3 seed, lost to a 14 seed. And he was getting an interview, and they said, like, they out-rebound. The question by the reporter was, they out-rebounding you by, like, 30, 40 rebounds. Or like, and they were like, what happened? And he said, well, you see, they went, and they jumped after the ball. They got the ball, and then they rebounded it. And they did that more than we did it. And, like, the reporter was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I guess that's what they did more than you. Like, he just was like, basically, screw you.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
That's how you should answer the questions, though, because...
Yeah, you're, like, in a bit of sarcasm.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get fines for that, but...
I don't know the ruling behind being, a reporter. Like, you get some dumb questions being asked. Really dumb questions. Yeah. It's like, why did you lose tonight?
Yeah. And they have to answer it.
And
if they don't answer it, then they get fined, right? If they don't show up, they get fined. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like these professional athletes, and it's part of their job, I guess. Like, they have to go do that after the game, but it's like, I don't know. I guess they do have training on it. Yeah. But still, it's quite intimidating.
The classic Marshawn Lynch interview. Do you remember that when he's like, I'm here just because I don't want to get fined?
Yeah,
and he ended up getting fined for answering.
Getting a fine for saying it like that. Yeah. Or you can't say anything about the refs. You can't, like...
Yeah. Bunch of rules.
A lot of rules that you can't do. Can't say anything.
Then the Allen Iverson one. Remember the practice? Yeah. Talking about practice.
Oh my goodness. That's like, if you play any sport, especially basketball, like, you just will bring that, like, as soon as your coach says anything about, like, practice, like, gotta be at practice more. Like, it's about the practice, not the game. It's about the practice. Yeah, that's
I love it.
A classic.
So funny. I don't know. Have you listened to all my podcasts or no?
I listened to some of them.
Some of them?
Yeah.
Well, I had one with Spencer, and I think it was with him. I was talking to him about how it's so hard to bring a sport into, like, the mainstream sports of, like, baseball, football, basketball, soccer. And I was wondering if spike ball could ever get to that point where it could become this mainstream game. Very difficult, I think, but...
Yeah, well, I think the thing what you said there, game sport, like you said, it become a mainstream game. I think that's where it's at right now. It's a game. Like, there's a difference.
Still like a backyard.
It's a backyard game, and that's kind of how it started. Like, I kind of work with spike ball. Like, I'm a spike ball ambassador, right? So I see kind of what their plans are for the next year before it comes out, like what they're trying to do, like new rule changes, and they're trying to change the game, right, not sports, so that it can become more competitive. Because right now, if you watch it, like yesterday I was watching, you can watch the tournaments live. There's pretty much a tournament every weekend in the States, and you can watch like throughout the day, and the finals, and the women's finals, and the premier finals, and the pro finals, and it's a lot of serving. It's like, so basically there's these serves called cut serves, reverse cut serves, fuego serves, that basically you put all this crazy spin on, like baseball, right? You put all this crazy spin on the ball. Yeah. So people are doing this on their serves now, and you don't know which way the ball's going. And so it's not fun to watch. Yeah. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it more of a defensive game so that it could come there, could be on there. I always try and tell, like Joe and John, my brother-in-laws, like they're amazing. Like Joe can do cut serves and reverse cut serves, sends me videos all the time being like, hey, look at this. And I'm like, if you went at this for the next 10 years, 12 years, I think it will be in the Olympics. Like, I think it will get there. because it is becoming that big this year. Actually, the first Worlds are happening in Belgium. So that's a big like step in the right direction. Like people are getting paid to play like thousands of dollars, which is getting up there, right? Sponsorships. Yeah. This team from BC just won a tournament down in Seattle this weekend called Wonky Sauce. They're top 10 in the world. I went to Toronto for nationals, played them. They just like diced me up, like we didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. But you learn a lot. Yeah. And but anyways, they like I think it will get there, to answer your question.
I can see it.
I hope it does.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
It's just hard because it's just two people.
Yeah.
Watching like a very small team or a small single.
It's crazy though if you think about and that's where I think it would go, is the Olympics, right?
Mm-hmm. Like that makes sense. That makes more sense than like a TV like.
Yeah, well, there's like there is competitions of like bowling, right, or like archery. You don't see them too often on TV, but there's competitions out there. It's like spike ball. There's competitions out there, but some of these random sports have been in the Olympics forever, right? Like just watching, we were lucky enough to kind of, because of COVID, we were lucky enough to see Olympics in the summer, right, and then in the winter again, kind of back to back, which we don't see too often. I don't even know if that's ever happened before this year. But you got to see all these like the luge, bobsled, archery, like these random sports that were probably once games that have just been so old, like old sports that have always been in the Olympics. So now they're just always in the Olympics, right? So I don't know what it takes to get a new sport in the Olympics.
Us just talking about it is basically putting a seed into the realm of that it can become a sport.
Yeah, really. Exactly. And I'm sure like the people like high up there, like in spike ball, like Inc. And there's so there's spike ball and there's round net, two different things.
Do companies too as well?
So spike ball is the company, round net's the sport.
Because round net was before spike ball. Is that true?
Yes. So there was kind of always this thing of like round net, but spike ball kind of took over it and like made their own company, so to say. And like if you go to Canadian Tire, there's like Slam-O Ball and all these other like knockoff ones, but like spike ball is, and that's not a plug either because I'm in basketball. Like it is the best one. If you're going to a tournament, you're playing on a spike ball pro net, right?
Yeah, literally. I have one. Plug it, spike ball pro.
Exactly. But I don't know where I was going with that. What was I saying?
We were saying about like you're talking about Spike Ball Inc. and like the corporation and the
so they make the nets, they make all the gear, right? All that like all the stuff like the buoy, but round net's the sport. Okay. So like we're kind of changing. Like when I started in Spike Ball, it's the household name, right? So when I started the tournaments in Spike Ball, New Brunswick, and all that stuff, trying to build a name for it, I was saying Spike Ball because that's what people know it as. They don't know when you say round net, it's not that much of a household name, right?
It doesn't sound as appealing either.
No, it doesn't. But so now we're trying to transfer into round net New Brunswick, and eventually we'll probably be like round net Atlantic Canada too, because we're hosting tournaments in Halifax and hopefully one in PEI, maybe two on the beach. Hopefully,
nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. And
you got to space out farther though.
Yeah, all over you. Yeah, exactly. But it's people don't really know it as round net. They know it as spike ball. So we try to build it as spike ball. But
I did run into somebody in Fredericton that knew it as round net. I was playing disc golf and with a friend, and this guy was like, "Oh, we do round net as well," and we were like, round net? And like, yeah, we got a group for round net. And we're like, what is that? Like, we didn't know. And then they're like, oh, it's like spike ball. We're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But welcome. This episode is sponsored by Piccadilly Coffee. Piccadilly Coffee has a passion for all things coffee, from bean to cup and everything in between. Sourcing beans from a small farm and cooperatives is a main priority. They also don't use technology and large machines to roast their coffee. They use sight, smell, and sound to ensure that each batch has the best flavor profile. Piccadilly Coffee also roasts in small batches, so their customers are always guaranteed fresh beans. Their mission is to provide the best quality product as well as the best customer service, all while enjoying the Piccadilly Coffee experience. Guys, I'm pretty sure coffee is one of the most purchased items in the world, so if you're human and you buy coffee, just shop at Piccadilly Coffee. Support them. They're amazing. Matter of fact, I don't even like coffee, but ever since I started with them, I've started my addiction. So get at it.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody else talk about it.
Yeah, in like I know there's a group in Fredericton that plays, and like they call it round net. In Moncton, like some people call it round net, some people call it spike ball. In Quebec, Ontario, all like the bigger places, right? They all call it round net.
Really?
Quebec is probably actually the biggest in Canada. They have circuits, and that's kind of where our goal is too. We're trying to base our timeline off of like how long it took Quebec to get where they're at right now. And like now they have circuits. So every 2 weeks there's a tournament in a different place in Quebec. And we're actually introducing tonight, I'll be showing out or putting out on Facebook and like our other platforms there, like a new point system. So at the end of the year, we'll be able to label of Atlantic Canada the best player in Atlantic Canada.
Cool.
Based on all of the tournaments. So like basically how it works, if you finish first at one tournament, you get 1,000 points. And then basically 88% of 1,000 gets like second, so 880
Deducted
points.
every time.
And then 88% of that 880. And so then of your 5 tournaments this summer, we take your 4 best and we add those up. And then at the end of the year, we'll be able to crown like the best spike ball player in Atlantic Canada or round net. See, I struggle with it too saying it, but
so you should be saying round net.
Should technically. Yes.
Oh, technically, but
yes. But again, it's a household name. We're trying to grow it. So a lot of people, like you said, you go disc golf, someone says round net, you're like, what's round net? Right? Then you hear spike ball, like, oh yeah, I played that. Exactly. A lot of people play spike ball, right?
Yeah. Just
like casually. Like we'll just be like, just the other night we were out for a walk and 2 cars go by with like spike ball kits in the back of their car. It's a backyard game, like exactly. You said, right? But
it's a professional washer toss.
And that, yeah, I don't hate when people say it because it is true right now.
It is, yeah, but I don't want it to stay there. No, though. I want it to grow
because there's more like athletic ability needed in spike ball around that than there is in washer toss or like I don't know what like the golf game. You know, the golf ladder, you throw the golf balls and there's
the 2-ball with the string?
Yeah.
And you throw,
like that.
That's simple. You don't have to move, right?
Exactly. You just stand there. Whereas if you watch some of the spike ball around at rallies, like it's crazy. Like it's absolutely nuts. Like
it's been on like Sports Center and like stuff like that. So
ESPN twice a year. They do like the college, like the college stream of it. So like in the spring when the students go back to school in the States, they go on make college teams and then they show like the best 4 colleges on ESPN.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool. I always tune in and watch it.
Yeah, it is amazing. Well, the rallies are insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think Spike Ball's like YouTube page is like top 10 plays of the month or week or something all the time.
All the time.
And it's really entertaining.
It is entertaining. But the thing is you sit down and actually watch a game that happens maybe 3 times, 4 times in a game to 21. And like say the score's 21-15, right? That's 35 points. You're only seeing that 3 or 4 times. So it's not that entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? Mind you, a lot of sports, golf cannot be entertaining. Baseball cannot be entertaining. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, there's boring parts of all sports. But like I said, each year they've been fine tuning, which you don't see a lot in like major sports. Like sometimes you see some rules changing. Yeah. But like they're just minor changes. Whereas the last few years, round net has been changing their rules to like benefit the defense. So like before last year, you couldn't hit the ball twice. But now as a defensive player, if the ball hits the net, I can hit it and then set my partner again, which allows me to like, if I have a bad up, well, then the ball's right here. I can still hit it to my partner, whereas my partner's never going to get it. So they're just trying to benefit the defense to help rallies stay longer.
Before it was just like you touched it, it was down.
Yeah, it was just exactly. Like
dead.
Yeah, yeah. So they're trying. I hope that they can fine tune them enough, and that we'll get more rallies. They just released the new net too, like a regular net. It's called the rally net and the rally balls. So they made the balls bigger, because you can't hit them as far, right? And the net, something about the net, there's less rims. It doesn't bounce as much.
Bounce like in a weird direction or bounce like
Nope, not as much
actual-
pockets. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm gonna order one soon. They just came out like last week, so I haven't tried it. But that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I think that's where it's gonna go too. I think in the next year we'll see a new Pro Net come out, and that it'll help with longer rallies, less pockets.
Yeah. The
with-
pockets is a big one.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's where debate comes too, right? So like if you get up there, like in the finals of advance in the tournaments that we have, we try to have some observers. But in like pros, they have observers, not refs. Like refs would make calls, observers just they observe, and if there's a disagreements, you.
Are you gonna have any of this?
Yeah, just for like
Weekend?
yeah, and you can and we have it like if people are, and we've had this a few times in tournaments where people aren't getting along that well and they're fighting.
Oh yeah,
about
that's
calls.
my biggest issue. I don't want to
Yeah.
get like I don't want to take the point, but I also don't want to give it away. So
yeah,
it's like
and it's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Like a break is a big difference.
Yeah, literally.
So, if there's a lot of debate, which has happened, I either have to stop my game or get like there's 4 or 5 of us that have played a lot, have been like played in Quebec, played in Ontario, that kind of know the rules. We're not certified observers. You can be you can do a course to be a certified observer through Spikeball. But we know enough about the game that if there's a disagreement, we can watch and be like, well, this is what we think. And people usually trust us because we've played a lot. But it does happen, right? And that's part of, that's part of the beauty of the game, I think, is it's just a game that you can play and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like
at the end of the day,
at the end of the day, you're getting out, you're having some exercise, you're having fun. You try not to disagree too much, and the beauty of Spikeball, if you read their rules, the last rule is don't be a jerk.
Is it?
Right? That's what it says. It's don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll pull that out on my little brother-in-law. Like he's hey, don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. Yeah.
Kind of as a joke.
Rule number 4. No.
Exactly. Don't be a jerk. And he'll pull it out on me too.
Yeah.
When we're disagreeing on like a call, right? Because a serve can't go over your shoulder and you're like, wow, the ball was here. I'm like, well, you went up like, and so you debate and then it's just, but the beauty of it, it's always just a reserve. If you disagree, you just reserve. So it's like, okay, we disagree. Let's just not fight about it.
Yeah.
Let's just
redo
like,
it.
yeah. And that's kind of where I've come to. I used to argue a bit more. And I'd be like, I disagree with you. I'm not fighting with you. Let's just reserve. Like, I don't want to play the game and fight. I just want to play the game, enjoy the game. If you disagree, that's fine by me. Even if I really disagree with what you're calling, you're always gonna disagree with calls. I was watching the Toronto Maple Leafs game last night, and you can just see the fans in the stands that paid who knows how much for those tickets, just like penalty. Come on, where's the bet? Like, so there's always gonna be people that disagree with calls no matter what.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're gonna forget about it, and you probably had a good time, and that's our goal, right? Our goal is that people come out, they have a good time, they learn, and they want to come back, and they want to be better.
Exactly.
So, and that's where we're going with the point system too, is we want people to want to be the best player, right? Because of human nature, most of us, I say most of us because my wife Beth will claim to not be competitive, but I think she is.
I think she is too.
Yeah,
well, we played before, so
she says she's not competitive. She doesn't like, and she'll say like her parents put her in basketball, and she just isn't that competitive. But I think she is, especially against me. She'll like really try and beat me.
Nice.
But like as humans, right? We're competitive.
Yeah.
We want to win. We want to be. Yeah, exactly. We want to be the best.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think introducing this point scheme will, like allow people, will want people. Sorry, people will strive, I guess, to try and be the best even more than.
Well, we're just goal oriented, so if there's some type of goal in mind, then
exactly.
It just makes it 10 times more fun.
Yeah.
As well as you just get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the goal. Try to grow the sport, get people playing it. We're like probably 8 to 10 years behind Quebec and Ontario.
Wow. How long has it been? When did the game officially start? Do you know?
The 90s sometime.
The 90s?
Yeah.
Wow. I was going to guess like maybe like 2012 or something.
I think it's even before that. I want to say the 90s, late 90s. It wasn't that big, obviously. But in I believe the CEO's name is Chris. I could be mistaken on it, but one of the guys high up his name is Chris. Anyways, he just sold them out of his garage for a long time.
Just like made them himself kind of thing?
Well, got someone to make them, but like couldn't really, like it just was, not production wasn't enough, wasn't making enough
Yeah.
sales, was just working out of his garage, and well, now it's like a lot of businesses, right? Starts small and then grows and grows and grows.
Every
and
big
grows.
business starts out of a garage.
Pretty much, or a basement, or
Yeah.
a room like this, right?
Literally.
So it's pretty crazy, pretty awesome. It's weird though, because like I've been playing, like people don't really know, but I've been playing it for probably since I was in grade 11, so like 10 years,
Wow.
10 years.
I didn't even know about it until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that's and with COVID, honestly, it's gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you can't go anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and
Families.
yeah, and Canadian Tire probably went like booming with COVID, right? They're just like everyone's looking for outdoor stuff to do, golfing, like everyone picked up golfing that didn't golf before, and same thing with spike balls. I found a lot of people have learned about it in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
But no, my sister went to she did a kinesiology degree at X, and she went to these kin games in Boston, and like they just were playing spike ball there, and she bought a kit, and then she showed me, and I took her kit for the next 6 years until I bought my own. She bought me one. She's like, I want my kit back. Bought me one. But it was only my friend and I that played, so we just played one-on-one all the time. Like no one else played. But we just played until other people kind of learned about it, and then you just met somebody like, oh, I have one too. That someone's parents bought them, right? And then we started playing together, and then I showed my friend groups, and then they played. But now it's a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's huge.
So
yeah, you see it all the time now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So an ambassador, do you get paid as an ambassador?
Do not, but there's a point system. So you start as like a level 1 ambassador. I'm up to a level 3 now, which is the highest level. Basically, I can buy. Yeah, thank you. I can buy kits cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I can buy them in bulk.
You can host events.
I can host events. Yeah, sometimes they'll send me like merch too, that I can give away. I get free giveaways sometimes, stuff like that. Sick Lululemon stuff that I can get discounted. And there's opportunities too, so you have to apply. They don't accept everyone.
Mm-hmm.
My friend my partner that I play with, he's one too. He actually applied, and I was like, oh, I want to apply too. So then I applied. Yeah, like there are sometimes like paid jobs with them that only are at least 2 ambassadors at first. And if they find someone they like, then you could get it. Although I don't think Beth would want me to move for a job for spike ball. Yeah. I think it would be sick, but there are opportunities.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly. But there are opportunities like that. When I host events, I get points, and I can buy stuff with points.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just for growing the game. Like,
Yeah.
That's the main purpose of it. Is to not be a game, and it's to be a sport that hopefully at some point could make it to the Olympics. Like
one day you get paid to be a spike ball coach.
But it's you make a joke about that, but it's happening.
I know.
So yesterday there was.
It's a seriously joke or a serious.
A
joke.
serious, but it's happening right now too. Mm-hmm. Like we're saying, like for the future, but it's actually happening right now. Where like Team USA, they had tryouts yesterday, and in Atlanta, and they just released their coaches for their Worlds team in Belgium. So the Belgium tournament's happening. The Worlds is happening in September, and they just released their coaches, and these coaches are previous spike ball national champs from the States.
That's crazy.
And so there's 4 or 5 coaches, like one for like the pro, a woman's coach, whatever, like and a strength trainer.
Mm-hmm. Strength trainer.
A strength trainer.
What do you got to train, like hips and legs?
Yeah, like
hand coordination, probably a lot of hand coordination actually.
Yeah, in abs, like too, like it's a lot of bending over to like core strength. Mm-hmm. Like is a big thing. I follow this one guy, one of my favorite round net players, Buddy Hammond. He's a big defensive guy, crazy. And anyways, he does like spike ball training virtual right now. So you could pay, I don't know how much it is. It's a pretty fair rate. And he'll like train you, but he tells you like a lot of his training's not like, I'm not going to teach you how to cut serve. Like I'll work on some of that stuff with you, but a lot of it's like how to prep your body.
Yes, like fundamentals type stuff.
Fundamentals and just like he'll give you drills of like setting all that stuff. But a lot of it, he says like people start taking pay for my training and start taking it, and they're like, I thought you were just gonna like help me cut serve all day.
Yeah.
But he says it's not about that, and a lot of the pros will say that it's not about just cut serve, reverse cut serve. Although it's a big
those
part
are
of the
like
game.
really skill oriented.
Exactly, right?
Like movements.
Yeah, but you gotta like if your body can't go every single weekend for these tournaments where like you're throwing your body on the ground trying to dive and get a ball, right? If you're not like, and he preaches yoga.
Oh,
and
I believe it.
And I hate yoga, but
You
like
hate yoga?
I hate it, but
What about stretching?
I hate stretching too. But Beth will be like, hey, but Buddy Hammond likes yoga. You should do yoga with me. And I'm like, you're right. I should. Because he preaches it. And like, he's up there. I'm like, if he's up there, he knows what he's talking about, right? And he'll go through all these stretches of like what you need to do to keep your body right to be able to play all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Do you recommend cleats?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna bring cleats this weekend.
100%.
I didn't last time. I slept all the time, constantly. You'd go to take off or you go to stop, and you.
And that's part of the thing with round net spike ball too, right? Is, so we had a tournament in Halifax last year, the biggest one that I've hosted. And we had like 36 teams, so pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
And the first game that my partner and I played, Ryan and I played, we lost. We lost like 21, like I don't know what
fairly
the score
close
was.
game.
No, not fairly close. And we were like, oh man, like these teams from Halifax, like we were like, oh crap.
Yeah.
But we were slipping everywhere. Like it was rainy. It was like it
cleats
wasn't
on though or no?
So we didn't have cleats on. We brought them, but I had never played in cleats before. So I was like, all right, I'll go put the cleats on. Anyways, we played that team later in the day and just smashed them with cleats.
Yeah.
Like you just weren't. They had cleats on, we didn't before, and then we switched. And anyways, it makes a big difference.
Well, it makes your cutting just so much easier.
Yeah.
Jumping
And if you play like soccer or baseball, anything, like, you just know that you can just go a lot quicker.
Don't have to worry at all.
Yeah. When we played in Toronto at Nationals, we were supposed to get over 40 millimeters of rain in the day. And anyways, that night we got like 20. So the whole field was just like a mud pit. And you start playing and it's grass, but by the end of the day it was mud.
No, it's
like straight up mud.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going in cleats, right? So even cleats weren't helping you. Like you just couldn't do anything. But Saturday's supposed to be 24 degrees, sunny outside.
Is it supposed to be sunny?
Yeah.
I thought it was cloudy, but
no.
the weather app I use is never accurate.
Yeah.
So. It's just
the iPhone one?
The iPhone one.
Oh
yeah.
man, that
it's
app.
brutal.
I used to work at a golf course, and I swear, like we would just like pray for like a rainstorm, like thunderstorm, because it's thunder and lightning on a golf course. See you later. Get out of here, go home. And it would say like sunny, 22 degrees, and the next thing you knew, it would be like a rainstorm. We'd be like, oh, but then it would say rainstorm, thunder, and it'd be like no clouds in the sky.
Yeah,
We'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah,
like I don't know. I don't know what that app is doing. Why they just don't have like use the Weather Network as their source for weather.
I pulled it out one time and someone was like, use that app, and I was like, I don't ever download any other one, but
no.
Yeah, it's horrible. It actually is horrible.
Yeah. You'd think you would just think that Apple would do something about it because obviously it's terrible.
Everything else is great, so
exactly. Yeah.
The weatherman sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to promote your whole spike ball. This ended up being a big promotion pretty much. In the history of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's my passion. Like it's like whenever I have a free moment, which is rarely now with being a father. But
congratulations.
yeah, thanks.
What's boy or girl?
Boy.
Name?
Ezra.
Yeah.
Cool. So busy with that, and I come home like that's quite tired.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the moms out there.
Yeah. Mother's Day was just last week.
Last week. Yeah. Definitely have a more appreciation for my mother, all mothers. Like they do a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just when I have some time, I try and I just work on my game. So, yeah.
Yeah, my sister just recently had her kid, and just gives you perspective of like where the woman sits after having a kid and like what they got to do, and
a lot.
Then
there's, I mean, especially if like they're breastfeeding, right? There's not much really that like I can do.
And if they go over 30, they're in a different realm of camera, and it's really hard to find a camera that goes over the 30-minute range.
Actually, like I realized that the other day. I was because I film like my spike ball on Beth's camera, and it only does 20 minutes. And so I was researching it why, and I realized that most cameras only do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And you got to reset them.
Yeah, this one only did like 10 minutes at the time, but I realized it was like shooting in like 4K. So I had to like adjust the quality down.
Okay.
But yeah, now it's good. Worked out. Fixed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's in like I drive. I work in St. John as a teacher, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
so
thought you were in Sussex still.
I wish, especially with the price of gasoline.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like every Wednesday night. The only time I check Sussex News Chaser is on Wednesday nights to see like what the gas prices are going to be, because someone always says it on there.
Yeah.
And like, but I just brought a Prius, so I'm saving a little bit on gas. But I've started listening to more podcasts, and some of them go live, and it'd be quite the task.
It would be.
Yeah.
Not making mistakes.
Yeah.
Even just like speaking right is.
Yeah, and with internet,
scary.
and some of them like they're just doing it like while they're driving somewhere too, or on a plane, and it's like internet cuts out, and they're like, well, maybe he'll be back, maybe he won't be back. Like,
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, I was listening to like March Madness podcasts, and all of a sudden one of them just cut out, like, oh yeah, Gary's in a car right now just using his data, and obviously he's in a tunnel somewhere or something like that. Maybe he'll be back, maybe he won't. And then he just like kept coming in and out and in and out. Yeah. They're like, let's just cut him out of here. See you later. This is just becoming annoying.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it's part of the profession too, of just being able to roll with it, go with it, figure it out.
Who would have thought it could get to that point for podcasting? Just like
wherever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have a conversation and just like upload it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
With anybody in the world.
Yeah. Anywhere, anytime, any place, pretty much.
Talk about anything.
Yeah.
There's a video, and it was like, imagine talking on the news to have to discuss a topic. Like, that's what it used to be. Like, you'd have to go on the news to discuss a certain point of view, or...
But I bet you they probably still do that.
What, the news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
You're only reaching out to, like, 60 to 90-year-olds.
That's what I mean. So you drive home at night, and you see, like, old people sitting in their house or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, like, your grandparents or whatever. That's who's watching the news, like, at night. Like, they're just...
Yeah.
Sitting there watching. But
that's it.
Yeah, I guess so. And well, actually, thinking about that, Mattia Roach, the girl in Jeopardy. Did you see?
No. Somebody was telling me about something.
Yeah, so she's from Cape Breton, lives in Toronto now, I believe. She won like 24 days in a row.
Yeah, someone
Jeopardy,
was telling
like
me about
$600,000-$700,000 Canadian. Anyways, I'd like Jeopardy's one of those games too that like my dad might watch it sometimes, but like whenever I went to my grandparents' house, they put on Jeopardy and watch it at night, and that's usually who it reached. But I watched a few episodes of it because you know somebody on it, right? So you tune into it, or you don't know somebody, but they're local.
You know of somebody.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and it's just interesting. Like before, when you'd have to watch TV, you'd have to go like on cable. Watch something, find something to watch. Now it's just like Prime, Netflix.
Yeah.
Like
everything's like that.
Like there's all these different companies out there that are like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Like Disney Plus, like, oh, let's do our own.
Yeah, literally.
Right? Like Netflix was obviously there first, and now all these other ones are like, wow, they...
Maybe I should stream the podcast so people have to pay monthly to listen to the podcast. That'd be horrible, but... Yeah. Maybe if it becomes really, really good, and people really want to listen to it.
Yeah, but people like, and that's where eventually, like, if you got there, like, that's people do. Like, they do them live and they put them on YouTube, and so you can listen. Like, usually after they put them on Spotify, but you can watch them live on YouTube, so you're actually seeing somebody do it, and then you can watch and like hear them after too. So
yeah,
it's interesting. It's definitely. I don't know. I love podcasts. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued where it can go. Like where can it go now? Just like Spikeball. Like it starts out so small.
Yeah.
And like podcasting did take a boom like what 4 years ago probably.
Yeah.
But I wonder how far we can take it now. Like how do we make it, I don't know, more entertaining or better? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you just think of like where music started, right? And having to like have it on a cassette, and then on a CD and a Walkman. Like you had to have a Walkman, and now you have any music anytime.
Literally, once the iPod came out, it was like 1,000 songs or something, and that's like the most anybody could ever have. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, and now like, and it started with just music, right? And now it's gone into podcasts, and people are like, okay, yeah, music, but like, if I got a drive to do, right? Or I'm mowing the lawn, or if I know my brother-in-law just listens to podcasts while like mowing the lawn, right?
Yeah.
You're educating yourself on something. If you want to learn about something and you don't want to read a book, and like you're just doing something like mowing the lawn or raking or something,
cleaning the house, like
exactly
all those tedious chores.
And now you can educate yourself in maybe some way that you could make money. And now you are learning, and almost like you could be a student for a couple hours listening to something, learning, educating yourself, and then you could use that to build your knowledge to go out and do something else.
Especially if you're interested in a certain field of whatever area you want to go into. Like, somebody's going to come on here and realize there's way more about spike ball than they'd ever realize. Like, I didn't realize that everything that you said that was going to come on. I was like, wow. Like, so much more to spike ball than I realized. Like, the nationwide and going to the Olympics, like, that's a possible thought. It will be there. I think just us having that discussion, and obviously the higher up people are already in the works probably. There's probably already plans to how they do everything.
But the more and more like the sport grows, the more and like the better possibility of it actually happening it is, right? Like the more and more people that play it, like, so the more people that listen, it's like, oh, there's tournaments, there's this, there's that, right? The more people play, the more people from all over the world start playing and talking, and just this past year, like these famous but pro spike ball players started a podcast, and I've listened to it a couple times, and they just talk about like issues with the like ground net and how they can build it and how they can make it better and like all this stuff. And like you said, podcast spike ball, there are these new things that everyone's working through, these quirks, right? That are trying to build up and make them better and make them like efficient machines almost. Like how can you make money off it? How can you grow it? A lot of different like aspects you can look at it too.
Really?
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't realize how physical spike ball was until I played my first tournament last year. And the next day I was like, wow, I am sore. Like I think like one side was sore just from probably hitting and falling, and like my inside of my legs, like so much, I don't know, back and forth, like movements and jumping, and just like, didn't realize how physical laborious it is. I'm going to make sure to stretch before I go play this time.
And stretch after too. But and you're right, it is, but what's nice is you have 3 divisions, right? So you have advanced, intermediate, beginner, and like eventually we hope to get like an elite division, so people at intermediate won't be scared to like go up to advanced, and they can make the jump, right?
I'm still a little scared to go into advanced.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll get there, but
well, hopefully.
Well, I mean, like this week.
Yeah,
I don't know, but hopefully, yes, advanced would be nice.
But I mean, the more you practice, the more you play, the better chance. But what's nice is, so you can have like the past few years we've had like some 9-10-year-olds playing beginner. Beth's grandfather played in beginner, so he's like 80, was playing beginner.
That's amazing.
Dr. Albee, Stephen Albee, everyone's favorite doctor here in Sussex, was playing in beginner. He's quite good too. You could probably move up to intermediate soon, but that's what's great about it.
Yeah, my mom was actually quite good. We played in the backyard like with her friend, and like, I don't know, I was with my sister or something.
Yeah.
Like they were quite, I mean, they're older, like I don't mean to be rude, like, but like mom was actually really good, and I was like, wow, like you could withstand better than half of the people, like, I don't know, younger than me, like, I don't know. And
that's the beauty of it, is that you can have 40, 50, 60, 70, even 80-year-olds out there playing, and it's fun. They're having a good time. And like, but a lot of sports, like, you can't do that. Like, you don't see too many 80-year-olds going and playing hockey casually or playing basketball.
Play some pickup,
like you don't see that too often. Whereas you can with this. It's not as competitive, obviously, but it's still competitive. You're playing with people of your own skill level. which is nice too.
It really is the perfect amount of fun and competitiveness. There is a nice balance there. It's kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know what makes it so good, but I did notice that.
Well, it's just like, what's nice about it too is it's just like it's outdoors, it's in the nice weather, and what's fun is like after a good rally, even if you win the point or even if you lose the point,
you're right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's like that was a sick rally. Sweet, like immediately after a crazy rally, you just go up and high five the other team, and you're like, man, that was crazy.
Literally.
Like, did someone videotape that?
Yeah.
Right? Like that was nuts.
We just went back and forth 10 times, and it was like, yeah.
But then you're right back into it, and it's competitive again. Like you don't see that too much in too many sports, where it's like, that was amazing. You see it sometimes in like golf where there's pauses right between shots. Like you see like another play, like two people are golfing together, they'll go over and like give them a high five or fist bump them, right? Like nice shot. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it too, is you can have fun with it.
One thing I like about, I'm a big fan of volleyball. Like I've always been a big fan of volleyball, but I think the main reason why I was a huge fan of volleyball is because it's like the one sport, and spike ball is now another sport that you can't physically play the game without your teammate. Because like any other sport, well, technically rugby you could run the whole time by yourself. But it's one of those team sports that you can't play without your teammate. Yeah. Like you can't be a ball hog or anything like that. Yeah. Like you can't be like a one-man show. You have to play with your teammate.
No chance to win.
Exactly. And same with spike ball. It's like you need your player, and then that just builds you guys stronger as well, which is really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously there are other sports. You think, like, probably basketball, hockey, you probably wouldn't win without your team. No. But you could still do it. And you see that a lot, especially in the NBA. You see that a lot. It's like, all right, we've got KD. Like, let's just let him go off. We got LeBron. Just give him the ball. We'll be fine. Yeah. Doesn't matter who else is on the team. But you're right. You can't, if you were to just hit the ball back right at the net, you're never going to have a chance. You need to pass it to your partner. You need to use your 3 hits just like volleyball to get the best hit to get the point. And it's a bonding sport. It's nice if and you don't need a lot of people too. That's the thing with volleyball. Yeah. And like the thing with volleyball is you need a big yard. You need a big net. Yeah. Where can you really play volleyball?
Exactly. Like, especially outside. It's always a beach. And it's not as easy to play on a beach.
You need at least 8 people, like 4 on each side. Yeah. You ideally need 12, right? Yeah. But you need at least 8. And who has that many people?
Yeah, not accessible.
No, unless you're the Albies and have like 12 kids. Pretty much. But, like what's nice about spike ball is all you need is 4 people, and just that's not that hard to come by. Yeah. Like and it happens all the time where you've got 3 and all you gotta like it's pretty easy to just find like another person that can just play, and you need, like you said, you need 2 people. Yeah. And it develops like so many skills too. When I first taught my brother-in-laws how to play, they couldn't even hit a ball. Yeah. Like this is 3 years ago. And I remember talking to Beth after and being like, oh my goodness, like they're terrible. Like I want people to play with, like, come on, like this sucks. And she was like, yeah, well, they don't really play any sports. Anyways, like 3 years later, insane. Like literally how far they've come. It's developed and they don't see it, but like it correlates to so many other things. Yeah. Like even just like a volleyball or a basketball, passing, hand-eye coordination, like agility,
just
movement.
Juggling would like help with ping pong, for an example. Yeah. Like so much more.
Yeah.
Like
or like if you play tennis, you're good at ping pong too. Like,
exactly.
Just like because you're doing these movements and like it's related, like they weren't that good at ping pong like 3 years ago either, but now they can almost beat me at ping pong, which is crazy too. But like it's this, like it's the same motion, right? You're hitting with both arms, you're going backhand, you're hitting like this. It's the same in a lot of sports, so it correlates to a lot of sports. And it just helps with like being quick, agility, mobility, like all that stuff too, like fine-tune motor skills. Like it's great for developing like a lot of like daily movements, and it's great for keeping you in shape too.
I agree. I think it's important to do multiple sports growing up, or activities in general.
Yeah.
Whether it's hiking and then you go do kayaking. Like there's two different things that are going to implement. I don't know how to put that, but it's going to help you beneficially in any other daily activity that you're going to do without you realizing it.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're developing strength without really noticing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about spike ball and like other sports that I've played. Is I'm not someone that just likes going to the gym and lifting weights. I'd rather just be doing like other things that are making me stay in shape too. So that's one way I play it. One reason.
Did you run across Fun Day Footpath?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was that?
That was crazy. So I did that with my spike ball partner. We kind of do everything together. And somehow we got this idea. I had hiked it the year before with him.
It's an on average like a 3-day hike.
3 to 4
on average. That most people would do it in that time.
Most people would do it in 4, I would say. A lot of people do it in 3, but I would say like if Fundy were to tell you or a tour guide were to tell you, and you were just an average person, with like you might do a bit of like you mow your lawn, which is a
like
big
you got
lawn.
a regular pace to your walk
a bit, like 4 days.
4 days,
and you might struggle. Well, you will struggle. So the year before I did it for the first time, I did it in 3 days, 2.5, with Sam Malone, Ryan, my partner, and Beth, and then their 2 girlfriends. Anyways, it was hard. It was not great, and for some reason, Ryan and I got the idea like, oh, let's do it in a day. Like let's just do it next year in a day. Anyways, and we kind of just said that at the end as a joke, and then I like 8 months later was like, hey, did you actually want to do that? And he was like, I guess so, let's do it. So I started training pretty crazily. Like I was running probably 60-70K a week, training for it.
Nice.
He was a tree planter, so he was walking like 30,000-40,000 steps a day. So that's how he was training for it.
That puts you in a lot of conditioning.
So he was ready for it, but I was like, I got to run. So I was running like a big run, 24, 25, 30K every Saturday.
I was going to say, did you have a system to it? Because like you could have ran like 10K every day, but that wouldn't be beneficial compared to like...
Yeah, so I was just trying to build up some cardio. I would do 2 like 5K, 3 5K, 1 like 10 to 12, and then 1 big one.
Yeah, I knew there was some type of system that people do where it's like you run a little bit and then you run a lot and then you run like
there's different programs. I was originally training for half marathon or a full marathon. And I had rolled my ankle before and was trying to work through that and trying to prepare for, because the Funny Footpath is pretty like uneven. So I was trying to build slant? Oh yeah. So anyways, I felt good. He felt good. So pretty much the day after he finished tree planting, he was like, now's my best time. Or a few days after, like, I'm in shape now. Let's do it. So we did it. We started in St. Martin's, 64 kilometers later. Got to Fundy National. It was tough. We started at about 4 or 5 a.m. And basically ran the whole morning in the dark.
Headlamps or no?
Yeah, headlamps. But it was pretty bright. Like it got bright at 6:30.
Yeah. Foggy on the path?
No.
Not at all?
Not that day, no.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
met a lot of people, and as soon as you're like, how you doing? Where'd you start? Where are you coming from? Because everyone always asks, like, where are you coming from? And we passed multiple people while they were still in their camps, and they're like, what the heck are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, we're doing it today. And they're like, you guys are nuts. Anyways, we did it. 64 kilometers over, it's like 3,000 meters of elevation gain.
Yeah, it's so up and down,
it's
isn't
pretty
it?
much up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Is the down worse than the up?
The down is worse than the up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so our fear of the hike, our fear of the only hike, we had one fear. It was my ankle. Like my ankle's not that great. My ankle was fine. Ryan's knee, though, at the end, because of the downhills, you can't. It's hard to run down them. You're just putting a lot of force.
Just impact.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of impact. And so he at the end was struggling a bit. Just his knee, like physically, cardio wise, we were both fine.
Yeah. Probably could have kept going. At the end, you're probably still like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and you're just on like you're on fumes at the end. Or you're excited. You just want you get to the kilometer markers and there's like 1 kilometer, like 2 kilometers left, 1 kilometer left. Like, oh, you find energy.
Yeah.
Inside of you.
Yeah.
But you
digging
need like
deep.
there's exactly. But there's certain things you need. Like Sam Malone worked at Outdoor Elements,
Yep.
right? And he had given me for my birthday a lot of different, like we knew we were gonna do it, a lot of different like protein and these bars and these little drinks. And
Yeah.
Ryan and I would always say like, oh, Sam Malone's getting us through this part of our hike, because
Yeah.
we would just take one of these jubes or take one of these
Yeah.
gummies and all of a sudden we'd be like, all right, let's go.
Let's go,
Go.
yeah.
Let's ride. Let's go up the hill. But it was crazy. I want to do it again because like it was like
It's
it's
an
such
experience.
it's an experience. It's a beautiful hike. Beautiful views. We did. There was one part we got to, and I'm blanking on what I want to say it's Goose Creek, but I could be mistaken. There's Goose River and there's Goose Creek, and I forget which one it is, but I think it's the creek one. And this creek fills in with water, so at high tide you can't cross it, but at low tide there's nothing to it. It's just a little stream. When I did it the year before, no water in it. We got to it right at perfect low tide, and we just walked right across. Didn't even have to take our shoes off, like just fine. When we got there next year, people had told me that it's high if you hit it at high tide. I just didn't know what it looked like. We got there and there looked like a lake in front of us.
Yeah.
Like probably like a 400-yard lake.
Wow, that is a big difference.
Yeah, oh yeah. And before it was just there was no water in it, but the water, like the tides here, right, just came in. And so we hit it like 10 minutes before high tide. Like, so we were like, oh my goodness, this is pretty much high tide. How long are we going to have to wait? So we actually took our stuff off and started walking in to see how deep it was. And before, like 3 steps in, it was up to our shoulders. And we were like, oh my goodness, like how long are we going to have to wait here?
Is there a current or just
No current. But we didn't really know that because it's so big. Like, some parts looked like they had some, and like we had our little packs, right? So we were like, we didn't really want to get everything super soaked. So we were like, all right, we'll wait a half hour. Like we'll see like after high tide how much it clears out. And we check a half hour later and still up to here. And we're like, oh my goodness, man. And like, so we had like 26K left of our hike, and it was getting to be like 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And so we knew we had to get in before dark. Right. So we're waiting and it feels like forever. Like, cause you're just like going, you don't want, when you stop, like after hiking 40K, your muscles start to tense up, seize up, right? And you're just like, oh my goodness. So we were stretching a bit and being like, we just gotta go.
Yeah.
So like we waited probably 50 minutes to an hour. And I have a friend that does, like, she does tours of the Funny Footpath and stuff like that, kayaking tours, and will take you on the Funny Footpath if you want to. Like you pay her for so much. She'll bring the food. She'll prep everything for you. Oh,
wow.
She carries your bag, like all this stuff pretty much. And you just basically hike it.
In how long? Like 3 days?
Yeah, 3 or 4 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which she just started this company, which is pretty cool.
Should you do that with a group or an individual?
So she can bring people with her. Like, so my sister's done some of the training with her to be able to do it. And my sister and her have done it in 2 days. They've done it in 3 days. And they're going to actually do it, I think, with me this summer in 1 day because they want to know the experience of it. But she told me this creek, Goose Creek, usually clears out in an hour. And we were like, okay. So we waited like 40 minutes past high tide. She told me I probably have to wait an hour. And I was like, we can't wait any longer. Like, we were just getting so antsy. We just wanted to go.
Crunch time.
Yeah, so we basically, like, stripped down into our underwear and we're like, let's just go for it. Put everything in our bag over our head. We got out there.
Like this?
Yeah, and it was up to our shoulders at some point. And we get all the way across. And we look back. And it took us about 10 minutes to get across. We look back, and the water was pretty much cleared out. So, like, it cleared out that quick after we left. Like, you could see the ground in multiple places after we got across.
That's hilarious.
So if we would have waited pretty much the hour, it would have been fully cleared out.
Wow.
But, anyways, then we were soaked for the rest of our hike, but,
made it work.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I have a friend, his name's Aiden, and we've been talking about doing the Fun Day Footpath, but we wanted to do it the first time, like, fairly slow. Like, take our time, enjoy it, like, go check out. Because you can check out some extra stuff while you're on the trail.
You can.
Right?
Like, you could go to Martin Head.
Yeah.
That would probably be the biggest one. But, yeah, there's other places you can just stop and you can enjoy it more. There's beautiful views.
Yeah. And then I think I heard about you running it, and then he mentioned, like, I'd like to do it as, like, not as slow, but a nice slow, enjoy everything. And then he said, I'd like to see how fast we can do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm game. And then
Yeah.
not too long after, I heard about you running it, and I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah. Well, run is a loose term. I mean, we ran it for a lot of it, but hills you can't run.
Yeah,
Like
you
the
just,
hills
you're gonna
are
kill
pretty
yourself.
much. Yeah. So we didn't run the hills. We ran everything else.
Did you run down?
Pretty well.
Just
Again,
kinda
at some
quickly
points you can't. Like
Mhm.
they're too steep. You don't want to miss your footing, right? And then you're falling and not good.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere, no cell service. But yeah, it's I would tell anybody to do it. I would tell people to do a little bit of running. And
I was gonna say,
some
train yourself
cardio.
up, run some trails,
before,
do some trail running,
or at least like go to Fundy, do
do the path first.
or do one of the trails off of the path. Like if you go to like where the Fundy, like the pool is in there in Alma, like in Fundy, there's this East Coastal Trail. It's like 3K that takes you down into Matthews Head area.
I feel like I've been there.
You probably have. It's like it's an okay, like it's a nice trail, coastal trail. When we go to Fundy camping in the summer, I usually run like all the trails there, and I ran this trail, and it's pretty equivalent to the Fundy footpath. You're going straight up, straight down. But the thing is, you have to multiply that by like what? That's 3K. So you have to multiply that by 20. So doing that 20 times is what you have to think about with a 50 pound bag on your back.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about doing it in a day, you don't need a big pack.
Yeah, exactly.
And that makes a big difference.
You just need your jubes and you're good.
Exactly. Your jubes, your drinks from Sammy Boy, and you're good to go.
Yeah, shout out Sam Malone. He's still working there, right, this summer?
No, he's in Halifax now.
He already moved?
Yes.
Oh.
Just last couple weeks ago, last weekend. Yeah.
He's on his mission.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the Funny Footpath, unreal experience. And what's actually, there's one right across from it too, Shignecto. If you're looking to do like the Funny Footpath, but you're like, oh, I've heard like horror stories of it.
Yeah.
Shignecto, directly across from it, Cape Shignecto. It's Nova Scotia's provincial park.
Does it look like a triangle?
Yes, kind of.
Like to a point?
Yeah, to a point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going there this summer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's beautiful.
I think we're just walking it. We're not gonna, run through it, but
Yeah.
we're just gonna do it.
Yeah. So it's 60K.
Nice.
And I've done that one too. It's beautiful. There's cabins along that one, so if you don't want to just tent, it's a bit nicer. And there's only like a couple big hills.
Okay.
And it's all along the coast.
A little luxurious.
Yeah. I wouldn't get luxurious, loose term, but
Loose term.
more luxurious than the Funny Footpath,
Yeah.
where you're sleeping on rocks and the campsites. If you don't get to the campsites first, and there's already people there,
Yeah.
there's only like 2 good spots. Well, then you're sleeping on the beach, and who knows what the weather's going to be like, and so on. But yeah, if you're doing, or if anyone that's doing the Funny Footpath, or anyone that's listening is going to do the Funny Footpath or whatever, hit me up. I'll give you what I know, tell you what I know, because if you know people that have done it, they'll tell you like a lot, like where to camp, where to stay, like what you should do, what side to start from. There's a lot of debate. Should you start in Fundy or should you start in St. Martin's? I personally would start in St. Martin's, because then you can finish on like the Alma side. So I go like from that way. Everyone that I know really does it from that way. Maybe that's why I do it that way. But you finish in Alma, you can go out, get supper, because after you're tired of eating beef jerky, chocolate covered almonds. Like chocolate covered almonds sound great right now, but like after the Funny Footpath, for at least like a 2-month period, don't talk to me about chocolate covered almonds. Don't talk to me about beef jerky. Because that's all you're eating, right? Because you got to pack so light, compact. Like you can't take like bags of chips. Like that's not going to help you, right?
No.
So all you want after is a cold beer and a burger and or a sticky bun. Like, so it's so like, and you finish in St. Martin's, there's not much to finish at, right? You just
there's that one restaurant.
There's one restaurant that's overpriced, and it just, anyways, Alma's the spot in the summertime. Like it's beautiful.
I'll keep that
Good
noted.
restaurants.
I would like to end in Alma.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
so many restaurants.
Exactly.
Nice lobster dinner or something.
Yeah, and then thinking about the path aspect is the last 13K of the Funny Footpath are Goose River Trail. So basically, the Funny Foot Path is actually only 42K, and it takes you. It's all on the provincial park land, and then but you have to do 13K to get out. So the last 13K is on the national park land, Fundy National, and it's all graded, it's all level, no big hills. So you're finishing on 13K. That's easy. Personally, I would rather finish on 13K that's easy than finish on 13K that's up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if you start that way, your first 13K is easy, but
that's kind of pointless.
Yeah, you're just at the end. You're ready to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it in like 11 hours and something. The record actually was broken that weekend. We did it though. Some guy ran it in
9.
Like, no, it was less than that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 6 something. Yeah,
He was
five something. Yeah, he finished it in almost like half the time, or less than. Yeah, so we did it in 11 something. He did it in 5 something. So
he's the last guy that's gonna get eaten by a bear or something.
Yeah,
if you're in the woods.
Yeah, which I don't even know how it's possible to run that fast. Like we were booking it. Sometimes.
I wonder what his pace was. Like, do you know what it would have been? Or?
Well, if I knew his exact time, I would. But he did it in, I want to say 5:30, 64K. So he was doing about. So I can run like a 25K. Or sorry, 5K in like 25 minutes, which is pretty good, like 5 minutes a kilometer. I remember looking at it when I saw that article in the newspaper, and he basically ran my 5K pace for this whole thing. So he was doing about 5 minutes a kilometer, pretty sure, on this 5-6 minutes a kilometer. Up and down. Yeah, exactly. Which is insane. And
I'd be taking an ice bath after. If I
yeah, broke the record in the paper. It's funny. My dad texted me the paper article like 3 days later and said, "You guys didn't do it that fast compared to this guy." I was like, "Oh, thanks, appreciate it."
Yeah, that gives you competition though.
Yeah,
if you ever want to do it better.
Professional runner, I don't know. More for enjoyment, if you could say that. But yeah,
herd water,
city water, town water.
Yeah,
guess it's not city, town water.
There's water there for you if you need it. But.
Yeah, thanks.
It's town water, so I don't know if you.
I have town water too. So I actually don't find it that bad. But there's worse.
There's worse. There's egg water.
There's a lot of different kinds of drinks out there now. Kombucha's on the rise for sure too.
Do you like kombucha? You kombucha guy?
I do not, but Beth does, so I know a bit about it.
Okay.
Are you?
I've had kombucha that is good, but I've had more that's bad.
Yeah, me too. Beth's made some before too, and that stuff's not good. But usually the stuff from the store that they're selling is a bit better.
Bit better. Trial and error though.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Spike Ball.
Exactly.
Getting better every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with Elizabeth's kombucha.
Yeah.
Or Beth, I guess. I shouldn't call her
either
Elizabeth.
or.
She'll get mad at me. Fun Day is the highest rising or the fastest rising tides? Or both? Something like that?
Fundy has the
I'm on a train,
highest,
but I don't know if I'm on the right track.
The biggest difference, so the highest tides, yes. It'd be the highest tides. And I believe fastest, but I could be mistaken too.
Yeah.
Definitely the highest.
Definitely
tides.
the highest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's another story from when we did it. So you can take the beach route instead of going in the woods and going up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, all right, let's just avoid this part, because every time a stream comes out, that's where the camps are, right? So because you need to camp by a water source so you can get water.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Outdoor Elements, all your needs for that.
Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna have them on too at some point, or John.
Yeah,
John
it's
McNair.
you need to be able, and like the tablets just don't do it. Like it doesn't taste as good. You need the filters.
Yeah.
Anyways, so every time where a stream comes out, there is basically the cliffs go down, right? Because the water's got to come down, and so that's where you can camp. And usually they're about every 4 or 5 kilometers. So if you can avoid going up and down and taking the beach for 4 to 5 kilometers, then you're going to save a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So one time when Ryan and I were doing it, we were like, all right, like the tide is low right now. Couldn't do it at high tide, right? Because at some points the high tide's coming all the way to the cliffs and you would be dead. And this is why people have died on the funny footpath.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
Sorry, I thought I didn't hit record on there, but
all good. So, one time we were like, all right, let's go for it. And so we're going for it. Low tide has passed. The tide's now coming back in. The spot that we thought was the inlet of where the water came down and we could go in and start going back in the woods again was not the spot. And it was actually like a few more kilometers away. And so we're like booking it, like stressed out of our minds that we're going to get stuck and just thinking about like, okay, like where could we go? Like where could we escape to if we got stuck? And anyways, we got to this spot. It was all seaweedy. If you ever try walking on like seaweedy rocks, like it's just not possible. So we had to go down by the water more where they were smaller rocks. And anyways, we ended up making it, but it was like, it was stressful because if you get stuck somewhere, like you'd be either stuck there for like the tides go, I think it's every like 5.5, 6 hours, 7 hours, something like that, right? So you're stuck there for quite a few hours until the tide goes back out.
It's not like you have camping gear anyways, right?
No, exactly. No, but like also the thing is you might not, you're either trying to climb up the cliff, then if you climb up and get stuck, then you're stuck there, then what, right? And that's why there's been quite a few rescues. And
how much did it cost to get rescued? Somebody told me it was a hefty amount.
I'd be a helicopter rescue. So
yeah.
They do about they've done more rescues in the past couple of years than ever before because more people have been hiking it because of COVID. Getting outdoors. They do they do at least 10 rescues, I think, in the past, like in every year for the past couple of years.
Which is wild. I heard they were frustrated though because everybody thinks they can do it because of COVID.
Yeah, everyone thinks they can do it. I know multiple people that have thought they could do it and have needed to, and there's exit routes.
Yeah. There's markers where you can go off.
There's little spots you can get it, like you can get out at Martin's Head, right? Like, but a lot of people think they can do it, can't do it. Then you get stuck, and then in that case, hopefully you're not calling a helicopter. But sometimes like people break their legs out there, right? They get dehydrated. They didn't pack the right stuff. My brother and all his friends did it before I ever did it, and they did it in a crazy rainstorm. So all the tides, all the river crossings, which you do a lot of river crossings, are higher than normal. They had to go arm in arm with each other crossing. So there were 7 of them. They had to go link, and then hold on to the next person to get across this river.
Dang.
And all their stuff was soaked when they got to their campsite. They tried to wring everything out, and it was just literally pails of water pretty much they were wringing out. So they just decided to keep hiking through the night, and they did it in like a day and a half straight. They just kept going because everything was just soaked. But on this
You're
hike,
getting brain fogged by the end of it.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, seriously. But people then they went again next year when it was nicer out, and they asked more people to come. They didn't tell them about how terrible their experience was the first time. But these people brought like pots and pans and bags of apples and right, you just
bag apples just basically bringing juice.
That's so heavy, right? Like that's so heavy. Like you gotta dehydrate everything. Like when we did it, we dehydrated like curry. So we made curry and then dehydrated it, and then you just put it in a pot in a pot that's from Outdoor Elements or from like River and Trail store like that, right? That's camping, lightweight, and then you rehydrate it, and boom, you're having this nice meal in the wilderness.
And all you need is technically one pot out of your group, right?
Exactly.
Like you don't need
much of them. And so when I did Chignecto with all those guys, I never did. My mom said I was too young the first time they did that, but then a couple years later they did Chignecto, and I went with them. Before any time they do a hike now, this one guy who's like a hiking guru basically goes through everyone's bag and is like, no.
Yeah.
And what you should do is whoever you're hiking with, and this is what I do. We all gather the night before and be like, all right, let's pack our bags, like where the heavy stuff should be, where the light stuff should be, right?
I have a photo that's like shows you how to properly pack your pack. So every
Yeah.
time I do pack, I like go through the kind of the photo and all my stuff, and I like
I mean, you pack your trailer, right? You got to make sure you pack your trailer right so that you don't go like in your car, right? You want to do the same to your body. You want to make sure that your body is being supported properly, that it's not going to hurt your back on this type of hike. So you got to make sure that all your bags are even, unless someone can maybe take a bit more, and making sure that they're all packed properly, that you're not taking like 4 or 5 pots. You're only taking one big pot.
Mm-hmm.
That you have maybe a couple like water filter systems just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to overpack
No.
either.
That's the last thing you would want to do.
No, yeah. And so my sister has done it in 2 days. I've done it in 1 day. And she would argue that 2 days is harder because you still need your tent
Mm-hmm.
or your hammock, right? You still need your pots and pans. You still need all that stuff. Whereas with 1 day, you don't need any of that. You just need your jubes and
your jubes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
From Sammy Fresh.
Sammy Fresh.
Yeah.
Is that what you call him?
Oh yeah.
Sammy Fresh.
Sammy Fresh.
Sammy Fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little more about you. You went to school for engineering?
Yeah.
How was that?
Great.
Loved it?
Loved it.
Where'd you go study?
SJ and Fredericton.
Nice.
Yeah.
UMB?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And then did my education degree, and I just started my master's too in education. So
Cool.
all the school.
Yeah.
But all
So you're doing school right now?
Yeah, I just started my first master's course.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's good. Engineering's a great program, but I always wanted to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yes,
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was nice talking to you. Sorry to end it, unless you want to talk about more or anything else.
No, that's great.
Perfect.
Yeah, that
Do
was
you
awesome.
want to shout out anything like Spike Ball or Spike Ball New Brunswick or
Spike Ball New Brunswick,
Round
Round
Net
Net New
New
Brunswick.
Brunswick.
Yeah, we're trying to make the transition. Like right now, the Spike Ball New Brunswick page has like 170 some following or whatever, right? Whereas our Round Net page that we just started doesn't have as many. So I'm still posting in both. Eventually, I hope to just go over to the Round Net one, or we do, but we're not there yet. So yeah, Spike Ball MB, Round Net MB. If you play,
even if you don't play.
Exactly,
because like
you're right. Even if you don't play, come on out.
There's people there's new people that show up all the time, anyways.
Yeah, and just play beginner. Like you'll learn, you'll have fun.
Yeah.
You'll see if you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Like,
yeah, it's not for everybody.
No, it's not. But if you do and then you love it, like you don't know until you try it, right?
Exactly.
So come on out. You don't have to buy a kit. We've got kits. If you can't afford one, I can lend you one. Like I just want people to play.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Spike Ball New Brunswick, Round Net New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Do you want? If you want to know more about Spike Ball, I imagine you can find Thomas
Yes.
or Fun Day Footpath.
Yeah, Funny Footpath.
Yeah, being a teacher, taking their masters, all that fun stuff.
Exactly.
Shout out Sammy Fresh.
Shout out to Sammy, freaking Fresh, man. Love that guy.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. That was fun.
Awesome.